All right. I'm ready if you all are. Any questions before we begin?
Ready, Freddy.
All right. Mel,
Good.
you good? Feeling okay?
I'm actively dying, but other than that, I'm good.
All right. David?
This is a hell of a way to go.
Okay.
This is my last moment. This very podcast.
Well, you probably get some hits on it.
You know.
We're singing Hamilton Melody in my old Kentucky home. Kentucky.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kentucky Commons Radio Hour. I am Michael Moeller, joined today by David Satterley, and also guest hosts Mel Fox from Work for Your Beer. And guys, we're not in Louisville, Kentucky today. Unfortunately, we're missing John Renane, but we're actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, specifically at Divine Barrel Brewing, joined by James Amato, marketing manager from Divine Barrel. James, thanks for having us here today, inviting us into your work home.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and for thinking of us. And we're honored to take part in the podcast.
Well, a big part of this of you being on here and us being, essentially persuaded to come here was through the recommendation of Mel. So Mel, thank you for, making this happen.
I'll only bring you to the best places. So.
And we
super
love Mel.
stoked.
And we love Mel a lot. So we're glad she brought y'all here.
That's perfect. And that's exactly what we wanted to hear.
And we are filming in the barrel room.
Woohoo!
Very Kentucky of us.
Yes.
To immediately walk in and say, hey, that room, we would like to film there.
Yes, that's exactly what we want. And, we see a lot of things from North Carolina here with the barrels, but we also see some Woodford, some things that remind us of home too, I think. Who knows? But
Yeah.
we'll get into a little bit about that later, I think. But for now, James, can you just tell us a little bit about Divine Barrel?
Yeah, for sure. So Divine Barrel Brewing has been open for just over 4.5 years. We'll have our 5-year anniversary in March of 2023. Love working here. It's an awesome place. It's very family oriented, very welcoming to all new employees and anybody who just comes in here. It's like one big family, which is an awesome feel as an employee. And then I hear all the time, like, Mel loves coming here to drink, and a lot of other people love coming to enjoy a beer or two in the tap room. We focus a lot on clean beer, so we do a lot of West Coast IPAs, we do a lot of lagers, we do a lot of kettle sours, so a lot of kind of crazy fun sours, as well as we try and mix in some traditional beers. Y'all sampled one of our pub ales earlier. We've got a Hefeweizen. So we really, really, really like to focus, at least beer-wise, on just executing good beer, whether it's something crazy and new or honoring tradition. There's room for it all, we think. And so
Something for everyone.
Exactly.
And Mel, what was your first experience here like?
So this is the brewery that I feel like you walk into and it kind of feels like home. And everyone is so welcoming. Like, the staff is always super helpful and very honest. Like, they know kind of what styles I like right now. So they will be very honest if I will like something or not like something, which I always appreciate. And the space itself is gorgeous. There's a lot of plants. It's very homey. And yeah, it's more about like the people and the relationships and the community factor here that James hit on. I always say, like, when Dory and Finding Nemo is like, it feels like home. Like, that's how I feel every time I walk into Divine Barrel. And I'm just super grateful that we've made such a good connection here, because James and I do a lot of content creation together, and we like to be goofy and fun and get a little weird in the Charlotte community,
To say the least.
Yeah, we like dancing together. But yeah, the beer is always top notch. I mean, I think I came here first and really dove into the sours because I, went through my sour phase. And they have a cobbler series that is just like so fire. It's so good.
Tastes like cobbler.
Honestly, they have a variety of different fruit cobblers. You can probably name all of them at this point, but they are all like super, super delicious and really unique. Like, I don't think there's any other beer like it in Charlotte.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Friend.
As soon as we walked in, I was like, man, this is homey. Like the lights, the ambiance, the wood paneling,
The plants.
the low lies, the brick walls. And now the barrels. It feels like you're stepping into somewhere familiar.
Yeah.
Good.
And there's an N64 in the corner. I don't know if you guys noted that, but they have like 35 games you can pick. And I'll literally just come with like one friend and we'll sit and drink beer and play N64. And it's just the best.
Do you have a go-to game?
I played Wave Race here for like 3 hours once.
That's awesome.
And I'm really good at Wave Race. So like I was just doing all like the stupid trick moves as my girl.
I was not expecting
Yeah.
that as your answer.
That's a deep cut.
That is a very deep cut. I like it.
Normally people go for the Mario Kart.
Mario Kart
or-
is just the classic, but
Yeah.
I loved that you guys had Wave Race. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, this is a throwback.
The only thing we're missing is the original Super Smash Bros. For N64.
I can't help you there.
It's so expensive to. I've looked to get it online. It's way too expensive to purchase for the brewery and not for myself. So
Fair.
And then even if you do buy it, you got to like blow it out all the
Oh
time.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
It's a complete
Exactly.
mess.
Yeah. So we
Part of the nostalgia. Okay.
we even have a. I think we even have a backup N64 that's sitting in. Our
I have
office
a
in
spare
case the
one
other
if you ever need it too.
Okay, cool. So now we have a third N64 in case the other two crap out on
I
us. So-
offered to bring in some of my games too, just in case you need them.
Okay, thank you.
Speaking of classics, we got a couple beers poured here before we got started, and Michael and I opted for the Czech Pils. This is really fantastic, like you were saying, sticking to those old traditional styles. It's poured in a giant mug
Oh, yeah.
out of a side pour.
Yep.
Got great foamy head on it.
Thank you. Yeah, we again, lagers are. We just love making all different kinds of lagers, but this Czech Pils specifically is one that we kind of did a year or two ago, just for the first time, and it was such a big hit amongst our staff and amongst just the Charlotte drinking community that it's now turned into kind of a semi-regular lager that we brew, and we have a Lucre side pour faucet, which is awesome. It's a wonderful way to serve that beer and lager in general. And then, I've got the hoppy lager. So it's an American lager base that we hop a little bit more than a little bit less than an IPA, I'd say. So you get that clean base and just enough hops in it. So we like to mix up our lagers. We've got an amber lager out there right now. I think we've got a Mexican lager coming out. Obviously, Oktoberfest is right around the corner.
Yeah.
So got an Oktoberfest coming and a Dunkel. So like to do lagers.
That Dunkel season was 2 months ago.
That's all right.
We'll do another, late to the Dunkel season.
It's always Dunkel
It's
season.
always Dunkel season.
We're trying to get the name Donkey Boy to catch on, like Crispy Boy. But,
Donkey boy.
it
That
hasn't
should
really
be,
picked up.
Your next slogan for that.
There you
Donkey
go.
boy. I might have to.
It's a hit.
I'll have to.
Oh,
I'll
there
have
you
to
go.
bring it up to the
Guaranteed
guys.
hit. You heard it here first.
Well, so you mentioned this Czech Pils being kind of a gravitational pull for people in the neighborhood that really like these kind of lagers. Tell us a little bit about the neighborhood though and where we are.
Yeah, so we are in the Noda neighborhood of Charlotte, kind of northeast Charlotte. For those of you that don't know, Charlotte is broken up into neighborhoods, and Noda is kind of traditionally known as the artsy.
The arts district,
The arts
if you
district. Yeah, exactly. So a couple concert venues. We got lots of breweries, lots of art, couple art galleries, just very kind of eclectic, very walkable. We're about a half mile from the heart of Noda, so very walkable. It's an awesome neighborhood. It's definitely growing like the rest of Charlotte. So you're starting to see a lot more businesses and restaurants pick up in the neighborhood, and especially start coming this way and move out of the heart of Noda, which is really cool to see the growth just even since we've been here for 4.5 years.
Yeah, and for reference, Divine Barrel is always the first place I send people because you can start here, and then as you walk into the heart of Noda and out to the other side, you can hit 7 breweries.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of what I deem the Noda Ale Trail, which isn't a real thing. But if it was, this would be the start of it. And it's so nice because like you also get your steps in, so you can be a little healthy. Hey, look at that work for your beer tie-in.
That's right. You worked off that last beer from the last
Exactly.
brewery. Come here. Yeah. And it's nice. We also have a distillery right across the street, which is really cool. It's called Great Wagon Road Distilling. Got a great synergy. You can't see it, but some of the barrels behind the camera are from Great Wagon Road. So we've got some Barleywine that's been sitting in there for almost a year now. But yeah, it's just cool. They're like, I think we got some whiskey and bourbon, if I'm not mistaken, from them. But yeah, so it's a cool little neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's like just seeing the Great Wagon Road stuff. Like you guys do so many collaborations within the neighborhood as well. You even have a street that you adopted that you do cleanup on. Like I feel like Noda is so community driven, which is why like this place feels like home because like the community is so strong here.
Yes.
And like collaborating with other businesses is like the norm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. As a community oriented brewery, we definitely try and uplift many of our fellow Noda businesses and Charlotte businesses in general. And if there's any way that we can help the neighborhood or just do good, whether it's through nonprofit work or just being good neighbors, we will do our best to try and do it.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned working with other businesses. One is actually sitting right next to you. Work for your beer. You all did a collab recently, Unbelievably Annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that collab, guys.
Yeah. Would you like to
So
start us?
I'm just going to start with what Unbelievably Annoying is because we did 5 different birthday collabs for Work for Your Beer's 5th birthday, and this was one of them. The beer itself was a delicious coffee stout, and Unbelievably Annoying, the name for it, was driven by a comment that we got on one of our social media posts where someone said that they were uninstalling the app at the time that we were featured on because they partnered with us. And my friend goes in the comment section, of course, she likes to egg on the trolls. She was like, why would you do that? You like to work out, you like to drink, feels like you would actually like them. And his response was, I just find them to be unbelievably annoying. And so we made a beer called Unbelievably Annoying. We made merch. We sold it. It's great.
This is the best.
Yeah. And the can art was actually really nice because it was like a coffee cup that had just spilled, which also is unbelievably annoying.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, it honestly just tasted like cold brew. It was a great beer. Like I could drink that beer every morning and I would be happy.
Yeah. We had an awesome time making that beer with y'all. Again, we've been doing reels and creating content with Mel for a long time
since
now.
reels started.
Yeah, since we had to start doing reels.
Since I was like, hey, I have 10 weird ideas. You want to do it?
Yep, I have no problem making an ass of myself on social media, so I am your man. So anyways, it just kind of started like that, and then our friendship and partnership is, and we were always friends and friendly before we started doing this, but it's been an awesome partnership getting closer and closer with Mel and Work for Your Beer, and consider you like a sister now. So happy.
Love that.
Happy we got to make that beer with you, and it was awesome. And we got to actually host their
birthday party.
Their birthday party. So
Yeah.
it was nice featuring that beer.
Yeah. And if you guys, I mean, you can see the barrel room here, but they rent out this barrel room for like special events and stuff. And it's so nice because it's just such an easy place to be able to like, I mean, it didn't take us long to set up. Like everyone is so accommodating. If you guys need to have a Charlotte party of sorts, this is the space.
We're the spot. That's right.
So you did make a quick comment about the #1 social media platform for pictures becoming a platform for videos.
Yes. Yep.
Have any thoughts on that?
It's awesome.
We're just leaning in.
Yep. Although it is, I mean, it's kind of absurd. I'm still testing it out and all this stuff, but I'll take a short video of something stupid and it does really, really well on social media, and then I'll take a video and be like, I think this is gonna crush, and
Flop.
it just nothing.
I will say most of ours are
but
not
ours
flops.
together,
Sometimes like there's one or two that
Occasionally.
we're like, oh man, that one's funny, but the algorithm didn't pick it up. That
Yeah.
wasn't possibly our fault.
I was talking about Divine Barrel.
Oh.
Work for Your Beer and Divine Barrel collaborations usually crush, and
I mean, how could they not?
that's right. That's right.
Coming from a social media agency and PR agency space, what I appreciate most about Reels and that transition, to David's point, this is a good tangent, but let's talk about this for a second. I used to have clients that were just constantly on the, hey, why isn't this getting more likes? Why aren't we getting likes? Why aren't we getting likes? And I always had to explain to them, like, well, do you like everything that you see? Chances are it's probably not.
No.
But what I really like about Reels is that there's more of attention to reach and plays, which all of a sudden you see the analytics behind those. Those are always way more than the likes.
Yeah,
It tells a better story of engagement for sure.
without a doubt. Yeah, and so that's a good point. And I will say, when we do get a good video, we've been getting some great videos recently too, especially we've been knocking them out of the park, but you definitely do get a lot more engagement and reach and all that stuff. So from that aspect, it's great and very helpful, especially, getting your message out there, whatever that may be. But yeah, that's just a little bit more of a pain in the ass.
We just had to go from being photographers to videographers, which is like a very strong transition.
It is a very big
editing. The time it takes to edit something is so significantly
and
impactful
finding
to your
sounds, now.
And then like partnering with like a business account that doesn't have access to music. Sometimes we make really good stuff and then I can't collaborate with them because the music's not there.
We also ran into that problem.
The worst. It's the worst.
I think one thing that's unique about the Reels in specifically, though, is that you have to essentially put a face to the brand. It can't just be a picture of a beer or your tap room, which are all very good highlights, but you kind of have to assume that role a little bit.
Yeah.
It humanizes you. And I think that's great for brands like Divine Barrel and businesses like Divine Barrel who thrive on community, because you can see like, hey, like here's who we are and here's like what we're like, versus the static image of like, it's like
Here's
anything. It's like anything with social media where like you only see the best and the prim and the proper, and like I'm only showing you the good things. But this gives you an opportunity to be a little bit more real and humanize yourself. And I feel like humanizing brands is so friggin' important. What are you laughing at me for?
You got to be real.
Amazing. I watched that joke process in your head.
But
That's a good one.
Like you keep talking about the community here, and like doing just a little bit of research before we came here. This is one of the only breweries I've found, by way of intentionally looking, that has a code of conduct publicly listed. I mean, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and to be honest, it all stemmed from, I don't know if y'all are aware of the Brave Noise initiative.
Oh yeah.
So we were, I think, the second brewery to do that in Charlotte, behind Pilot Brewing, which is
Woman owned. Who you guys are talking to this week?
Yes. And we're very good friends with Pilot. But so again, going back to trying to be good neighbors and community oriented and wanting anybody who walks through our doors, no matter what they look like, no matter what their gender, no matter whatever makes them different as a human, we want anybody who walks through our doors to feel comfortable, safe, welcome, and just happy to have a beer here. So there have been, and a lot of these beer projects kind of took off at the start of the pandemic. And I think it was kicked off mostly by All Together, which was started by Other Half. But this Brave Noise is an initiative started by Notch Brewing and Brianne Allen. Right? That's her last name?
Yep, you're right.
Okay. It'd been a while since I'd talked about her specifically, but she basically set off a huge
The Me Too movement of the
huge,
brewery. The
right,
women of the Bevolution, if you will.
Yes. So as a result of countless stories of mistreatment within our industry, Brienne and Notch started this Brave Noise initiative and asked breweries across America and the world to take part. And one of the conditions in order to take part was to create a code of conduct, which we didn't have. But again, it seemed like common sense. So we have a physical copy of our code. We have 2 of them, I think. One's posted right outside on the front door. One's posted on our events board, and then we have a copy on our website as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, if you just treat people like with the golden rule, just treat people how you would prefer to be treated, and you won't have a problem here at Divine Barrel.
I think beer has enough pretension in it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we need less of it.
Yeah, that's one of the things too that I think James and I hit on a lot is like just making sure that we're advocating for an inclusive industry. Talked about Brave Noise. I think there were only 3 or 4 breweries in Charlotte that actually ended up committing to doing that initiative, which is not enough breweries. I mean, Charlotte, like greater area of Charlotte, 60, 70 breweries if you're talking Lake Norman to Fort Mill. And there were like literally 4 or maybe 5 if I'm missing one. But that's extremely powerful to say like, hey, we were one of the first people to do this here because we actively really care about this and we want to make sure that the industry is a better place.
Well, and not just that, but you know, craft beer is since its inception has basically just had fat bearded white guys like myself that are the main customers.
Hey, he says.
I'm just like myself, but like there's a huge opportunity. Like women love beer.
Yeah, we do.
You know, and there are all these different groups of people that have been long forgotten or set by the wayside. And part of our goal and mission is we want people who are different to come in here and try our beer and see that craft beer can be welcoming for more than just a fat white guy like myself or
yeah,
or whoever,
you want beer to be approachable.
Right,
and
exactly.
You don't want anyone to walk in here and ever feel like I don't belong, right?
Right. So, and that
even dogs all belong here too.
Dogs all
very
belong
dog friendly
here.
space.
We've even had a pet cat in here recently.
Really? On a leash?
It was on a leash.
Amazing.
So
Not in like one of those backpack bubbles.
no, it was on a leash. It was wild. It was wild. I saw the picture. Somebody sent me the picture of it, and I was like, "Is that cat on a leash?" And it sure was. So you know, as long as you're well behaved, you're welcome in here.
It's a very it's an awkward thing to walk into a place and you feel like you don't belong. And obviously the literal only experience I have with that is just in like random like podunk towns in Kentucky where I don't live because I come from the big city of Louisville, right? And I walk in, they're just like, who's this guy?
Well, last time you and I got a beer together, there was a lot of casual sexism thrown at me.
Yeah.
And
I forgot about that.
I was like, we walked out of that place and Michael was like, that was really uncalled for. And I was like, I don't even know what to say in this instance. Like that was so uncomfortable, but we were kind of in a podunk town. So
yeah, I guess so. But literally is like, I mean, nobody likes to feel that way.
Right.
So if you can prevent that in any small way by just thinking about like, hey, who's going to walk through those doors today? Let's just imagine.
Right.
Let's do better.
Well, and part of that is also training. So, you know, you want your staff to be well educated. And so part of what we've done is we've gotten together with our friends at Pilot Brewing and Resident Culture Brewing and a couple of other breweries in the Charlotte area. And again, a lot of this is stemmed from Brave Noise and Brianne Allen's Me Too movement within the industry, but we've started to make we have made a industry toolkit that we kind of has best practices, and it's free and available to any alcohol producer or any business that wants it in Charlotte, North Carolina, anywhere.
And you've hosted or co-hosted like HR meetings with breweries across the city as well to make sure people have access to like understand what actual HR protocol is, which is really cool.
Yeah. And so it's just kind of along with Pilot and Resident Culture, the three of us have really tried to spearhead some of these initiatives where we'll have a class here, whether it's so we had, what do we have here? We just had as an introduction to this toolkit that we came up with, we had Safe Alliance, which is an organization that deals in abusive relationships and getting women out of abusive, and they have a whole lot of other services within the organization. But we had them out, and then we've done like gender pronouns. We've had a meeting at Free Range Brewing, and so it's just, again, it's all about education and teaching your staff, because they may just not know the best practices and microaggressions and this, that, and the other. And so
and
you have to invest time to make sure everybody knows.
Yeah, you have to broaden your perspective. So like my background is in like corporate IT. So these are all things that kind of just come naturally in a large scale business where you have an HR and everything else. But when you apply that to a small business like a brewery that maybe has 12, 10, 30 employees, then that's another role to fill. That's another paid position. That's and tough. It's, but instilling things like this code of conduct, like directly, publicly available, that really sets a precedence for catching up our industry into most of the developed industries in the world or in the states, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's important. I mean, again, like she said, there were 5 or 6 breweries that took part in this Brave Noise. And, we certainly understand that not every business can make a batch of beer and then donate 100% of the proceeds to, but the 5 out of 50 or 60 breweries it could be a lot. It could be a lot more. And it's not just here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's everywhere. And I think part of it is people are just scared to make that first step.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah. People are just scared.
You get so even with some of the content that we collaborate on, like you get the beer bros in the comments that are like, keep beer out of politics or keep your politics out of beer, right? Like this is beer, not like, why are you trying to make a statement about this? And honestly, I'm so used to it at this point because I've dealt with it for the last 5 years of running Work for Your Beer. But it's when it happens, like James and I know when we post something, if there's going to be like comments that come through, and you and I monitoring the comment section is really fun because we're like, oh, here's another troll. Like, what do we want to do with this one? And we kind of have to, I don't like that it's assumed that we'll get those comments because the stuff that we're posting isn't revolutionary. It's literally it's literally like be inclusive and like treat people with respect.
Person. Yeah.
And then people are like, they get on their little like troll
burner accounts and
oh god, yeah. And so we deal with that pretty frequently. I would say not all of our content is contentious by any means, but we've had 3 or 4 videos where we've had to deal with that, where we're like, "Yep, here comes the comments. Like, let's address this."
And then you're like, "I'm gonna make a beer and then merch, and then I'm gonna make money off of you."
Yeah. So thank you.
Exactly.
Profit. Yeah, it's interesting.
So we do have another beer sitting on the table here. It's had a little bit of time to warm up.
Yeah.
But this is a special can that you pulled out from the back of bourbon barrel aged barley wine that was then transferred into cognac barrels.
So it just rested in cognac barrels.
Oh, okay.
So we took this base beer. It's called Sleep is the Cousin of Death. which is, I know, it's a very Barleywine name.
It
But
sounds like a very burial inspired.
it is. However, I will say I got the inspiration for the name from a Nas lyric.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
A lot of your beers are named after
Yeah. They're
songs
obscure
or
song lyrics or references that
Yeah.
are stupid show reference or whatever.
like very strong inside jokes.
Yes.
And to be clear, if it was a burial reference, it would have to have 16 more adjectives.
Yeah, that's fair.
Exactly. So, anyways, this rested in cognac barrels for 14 months. And if I remember correctly, we released it in March during our anniversary. So we have this variant, and then we also have an apple brandy variant. But decided to do the cognac version because it is the head brewer Ben's favorite version. I don't know. Do you want me to pour it out? Or
I'll pour
go
some.
for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look
We
at her
know.
go.
Moving closer to you. I'm sorry.
Either way.
Yeah, we know a thing or two about barrels being from Kentucky. Do you all place a focus on that? Obviously, we're sitting here and there's a ton.
The name Barrel is in your name, isn't it?
Yes. So we do have a barrel age program. It's getting more and more robust as we get older, but we focus heavily on stouts and barley wines. So primarily have those sitting in barrels, and we have a whole bunch of different spirit barrels for them. Like I said, we have a couple of bourbon and whiskey barrels from the distillery across the street, Great Wagon Road. Got some apple brandy barrels, some maple syrup bourbon barrels that I think is resting.
That
A
sounds
stout is
delicious.
resting at. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then of course we also do traditional sours, mixed culture sours and saisons. So we've got a couple of those resting in red wine barrels, white wine barrels. And then I think we should have a couple more fun projects coming up. I think we're going to take one of our lagers in the coming months, toss it in some tequila barrels just for a few months and release it. I think we might release it on like Cinco de Mayo, just have like a lime barrel aged lager. Just
Tequila. infused.
yeah.
Love that.
Just kind of, again, I just kind of do fun, random, weird stuff.
I'll be back in May.
You're welcome back anytime.
This is delicious.
So I mean, we know where some of these barrels come from, obviously, but what does barrel sourcing look like for you all?
So if you can believe it, so if you're a big enough brewery or you know people at, say a distillery in Louisville or outside of or somewhere in Kentucky.
Hey, you said it right.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I say it wrong.
Oh, do you?
I'm just not good at it. I try really hard, but I'm not very good.
We all have our strengths and weaknesses.
Louisville.
Anyways, there are actual companies that also source barrels, so you can go through them to pick out any barrels that you want or whatever they have in stock. Or again, like I was saying, if you have a inside connect at one of these distilleries or wineries or anything like that, then you can get them directly as well.
No, it's great.
Gavin's creepy.
Sorry, yeah, he was just staring at us through the roll-up door and got me distracted.
The nose on this is just incredible. It's like
tasty.
super dark grape, like caramel all the way through. This is really well done.
Thank you. Yeah,
It tastes like the heat on it too, just a tad.
It's got just enough warming sensation as it goes down. It's we're very proud of this, and and I love that we've canned these instead of bottled them. Bottling can be a little bit of a pain in the ass, and canning not so much because we have a mobile canning company that'll come in and do it for us.
I don't know. I'm a pretty good canning line.
You
human.
are an excellent canning.
I learned how to
line
stack
tech.
pallets here.
Mm-hmm. So she's learned some industry stuff hanging out around here too.
I think for beers like this, like some of the higher octane, 16 ounces, even split is enough.
That's all. You don't need a bomber. well, that's not true. We've done bombers of it. They're great, but I'm with you. I think smaller format for some of these bigger ABV and big boozy beers. Like at the end of the day, are you really going to drink 22 ounces of a barley wine on your own? No, you'll be.
No, I've been there and done that.
Not at the end of the day.
You probably weren't feeling awesome after you finished it by yourself. Maybe you were
Or he
feeling
was.
awesome. All right, maybe you're full. You're probably full. There we go. I'll say that. But no, I think it's like 16 ounces is split.
It's a perfect beer to share.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And in the can format too, you can get a couple cans and share this experience. So if you get one bottle, it's usually at a premium. It can kind of cost you, and then it's like, when do I open it?
Yeah.
When do I mean, I have a cellar full of things. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
man, when do I open this?
Well, and that's the
Yeah,
other thing.
yeah.
So I think we sold these as singles and 2-packs. So again, you don't have to pay
A
for a whole
2-pack,
4-pack of it. Yeah. Yeah. So I
But
love
you
this
should
beer.
because it's that good.
This is very nice. Thank you very much for sharing this
Oh,
with
of
us.
course.
This is great.
Send
I'm glad you
compliments
enjoyed
to Ben after.
Absolutely.
We
Glad
talked-
y'all enjoy it.
We talked a little bit about barrels and you saying Louisville correctly. Do you know what a Kentucky Common is?
Yeah, it's I've had one before. It's kind of like I know it's a lighter. Isn't it like a lighter beer that was then aged in bourbon barrel?
It can be.
The Kentucky Commons that I've had have all seemingly been barrel aged. I feel like.
And that's great, but it's not a requirement. But it's a dark cream ale.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I've had one
That's right.
last time.
You just enveloped the mystery or the lackadaisical interpretations of the Kentucky Common.
What is it? I don't know.
So it can be a lot of things, right?
Uh-huh.
So we even last year during Louisville Beer Week, we hosted an entire panel
Mhm.
of 5 people just talking about what a Kentucky Common was, including Leah Dinas from Apocalypse Brewworks, who
Mhm.
helped to write the BJCP guidelines. And there was still contention. And she's like, I wrote it.
I don't know. I was the one who wrote this, so
There's
I think
nothing
I
to
know.
argue here.
Yeah.
But to Michael's point, it's like a dark cream ale, usually fermented extremely quickly,
Mhm.
but also in like lager style caves or
Yeah.
at that temp, which allows it to turn over extremely quickly.
Uh-huh.
And then it was a huge export out of the state down the Ohio for many years until Prohibition ultimately just killed that whole industry. But we always like to ask that question just to get the interpretation because everyone does do it a little bit differently.
I'd say I should have known a little more about the Kentucky Common. I haven't brushed up on my beer style knowledge
Listen,
in
you
a
did
little
your
while.
research, but James didn't do his on you.
It's also, admittedly, it's a claim to fame that we're trying to claim.
Yeah.
And it's one of like only 2 or 3 beer styles that was actually invented in the United States. It's indigenous to the United States. Everything else has come from Europe or somewhere else.
Right.
And it's just we're Kentucky. We can claim that. Why not?
Absolutely, for sure. Maybe we'll have to try one on our small batch system or something.
Please.
And if it's a big hit, we'll move it up to the big system.
Do you have any uniquely North Carolina beers? I know we had a taste of the pub ale, which is just a, you said kind of like an ESB.
Outside of the cobbler, Carolina Cobbler series.
Right. That is a good question. Uniquely North Carolina.
Just pick one and own it.
We invented this.
I made this.
I don't know that there's like
I don't-
people
yeah.
ask me about this, like, oh, what's
I don't-
Charlotte what is Charlotte known for from a beer scene? And my thing is always diversity. I feel like every brewery
Is known for
carries a
something
really
else.
good
Yeah.
like variety and is known, to your point, for their own style.
Yeah. That's
Even
I'd
you
s-
guys like really throw down on West Coast IPAs,
Mhm.
lagers, and then sours. Like it's like
Yeah.
you have a good variety.
Yeah, I think I don't think necessarily North Carolina is known for anything. Charlotte is really known for anything other than the fact that I just think Charlotte has become known as a destination where you can go drink at like a ton of just very, very, very solid breweries that, like she said, everybody differentiates themselves kind of their own way.
I don't think there's any brewery in Charlotte that feels like another brewery in Charlotte. Like when you think about like aesthetic, like even when I have 15 breweries on the list for Michael and David to go to while they're in Charlotte. And that's like a small amount of breweries, but every single one we're going to go to is going to be different. And even like, I think we mentioned Resident Culture for a hot second here. A lot of these breweries are starting to have multiple tap rooms, and even their tap rooms are different from one another. Like Resident Culture in Plaza Midwood is a completely different place than Resident Culture in South End. Yeah. And like Free Range Brewing in Noda or Villa Heights is completely different than their Camp North End location. And it's just like kind of interesting that it's like, hey, we want to like differentiate ourselves, but also like we just want to make really good beer. Yeah.
Yeah. That's accurate.
So to that point, we heard that Charlotte Beer Month is coming up in October.
Yes. Yeah. Charlotte Craft. And then, so we're also going to have Charlotte Craft Beer Week. We're bringing that back. And if I
just got the email for this.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the dates. I think it's September 22nd through the 30th.
Don't quote me on that.
I think it's okay.
But it's like, it's over a week because I was like, this feels like it's long. I actually thought it was in October, not September.
It is October. Did I say September? Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant October.
Are we sistering Louisville Beer Week? And
it sounds like it's overlapping.
October 22nd through like Halloween weekend.
Yes.
That's ours. That's ours.
Oh my God, look at us.
Look at us.
No kidding.
Yeah, let's just merge them. We just fly people from Louisville to Charlotte.
That's right.
We can be sister cities.
Great.
That's right.
Amazing.
But off the top of your head, do you know of it? Like what does that usually look like?
So especially this year, bringing it back for the first time, I think there's going to be not growing pains, but having it be the first year back, I think it's going to take a year or two to have complete buy-in. But effectively, Charlotte Craft Beer Week is just a celebration of Charlotte beer. So any brewery that's in the Charlotte area is welcome to participate. The goal is to have like a mini festival at the end of the week. We're still looking. I think we're looking for a location to host that still. And then just kind of some fun events throughout the week that are base events. Like I think there's going to be a night where brewers are able to read funny, untapped
bad reviews from the
Oh.
app we don't mention.
Exactly.
Yes, it's called Bad Review Night, and I very much want to participate in this.
I'm writing this down for another organization.
So like, there's a bunch of they have a host for it, and there's a bunch of breweries participating. That one's being hosted at Free Range.
Yes.
And they'll come and they'll just read reviews that they've gotten and hopefully poke fun at themselves and or the people who wrote it.
So right now we're really rolling the Charlotte Craft Beer Week back out to brewers and the public in general, but it's effectively an open week for brewers to do whatever they want and showcase their brewery and put on events. And it's not just breweries. Any beer bars are welcome to take part in it and do their own events. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a free-for-all. Like controlled chaos. Controlled chaos is what I'll say.
Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Perfect.
It's the Super Smash Brothers of beer. Guys, thank you so much for inviting us in today. We really appreciate it. We've had some good beers. We've had some good conversation. This is what it's all about. Just feeling comfortable, just talking to somebody for 20 minutes at a brewery and be like, hey, we're friends now, right? We can hang out.
Share a beer and have a conversation at a brewery is what it's all about.
That is. All right. Thank you so much for hosting us, guys.
Thank you for thinking of us and for coming. We had a blast.
Yeah, thanks, guys.